been a lot of circulation in regards to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and in regards to the possibility of her, since she's going to be turning 35, her possibly becoming a candidate for president of the United States. It's been honestly, she's one of few people that have been circulated throughout the mainstream media. One of them also being Gavin Newsom, who is the current governor of California. In my honest opinion, and this is just my bias, considering I'm a conservative, this is just the mainstream media and the Democratic Party clasping at straws. So why the hell would people think that AOC, of all people, would think that she would be a candidate for office? I mean, aside from the fact that she's 35, that is one of the major requirements for running for president. You have to be 35, you have to live in the United States for, I think it was 14 years, if I recall. It was either 7 or 14 years, and of course you have to be a U.S. citizen since birth. So, considering her turning 35 in 2024, she meets those requirements. Okay, that makes sense. It also makes sense with the fact that, well, whether anyone likes it or not, she is a fresher face within the Democratic Party. She is younger than a lot of people, like Nancy Pelosi, and she's definitely a somewhat major figure within politics. After all, she has control of the squad, which has grown from 4 to 7. But in all honesty, compared to the MAGA crowd, that's nothing. That is absolutely nothing. And I'm here, but despite that, the Democrats are circulating AOC because of those major reasons, so to hopefully get the youth vote, and also probably because her being a socialist, although in all honesty, that alone is also a major issue. But maybe the Democrats would like to have her, at least in some case, if she can be controlled, to run as a candidate in 2024. But in reality, I don't see that happening. There are a few reasons. First, she's a congresswoman. The thing is that a lot of candidates who usually run for the presidency are not necessarily from the House of Representatives. I mean, to be fair, there have been candidates that have at least some public service within that in regards to serving in the House, but a lot of them have also had a lot of other prestigious jobs, like say maybe the governor of Indiana, which I wouldn't be surprised that's one of the reasons why Mike Pence was chosen to be the VP running mate for Donald Trump. Not saying I like the guy now, but I'm just saying that would be a logical fact. That definitely was in the minds of a lot of Republican leaders at the time. There also the fact that they could be a senator or just be in some other position, like maybe even Secretary of Defense, just to name a few. Those are more prestigious jobs. House of Representatives, not much so. Could you still win as just being from the House of Representatives? Absolutely. But it's very rare. I can only recall Abraham Lincoln, who served a time in the House of Representatives until he was chosen by the GOP and became the President of the United States at the offset of the Civil War. That's all I can recall, who honestly had a time only in the House of Representatives. He did try although to be fair, he did try his chances of being in the Senate as well in the state of Illinois, but his opponent guy, I can't remember. His name was Stevens. I know that for sure, but anyway, I'm digressing. The other part, well, she is a socialist. And this comes in regards to the fact that there's major division within the party. On one hand, you have the far left. The socialists, the anarchists, communists, a lot of other groups that definitely promote want the Democratic Party to go more far left, somehow believing that a lot of Americans want something like that to be a platform for the Democratic Party. In all honesty, I think that's a bad idea, and it's going to turn off a lot of voters. In fact, to do such a thing, it's already... with the Democratic Party is already doing something like that. It's been adopting a lot of woke policies, especially with promotion of critical race theory, even with them going hardcore on abortion. Regardless of the issue, I think a majority of Americans are more in the middle ground in regards to abortion, whether the between pro-life and pro-choice. But they don't like the idea of, especially with late-term abortions or even outside of the womb. They don't like that, and yet the Democratic Party is openly pushing for that. And parents have especially been having a problem with the issue of grooming, and as well as critical race theory in schools, something that they definitely don't like. So I honestly think that's not a good idea. Anyway, that's one side. They believe that adding more socialist policies and wokeness would somehow win over voters. Then there's also the neoliberal establishment, who wants to remain within the status quo, doesn't really want to do much to rock the boat. They just want to remain in their own power seats for as powerful seats as long as possible. And let's just face it, a lot of average Joe liberals, the average Democratic voter, does not like either of these camps. They would prefer someone else. I honestly think that a lot of, if you were to talk to regular Democratic voters, they want someone similar to that of John F. Kennedy. But as I said in my previous video, they have yet to find anyone who would match that description. There's just Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, and of course AOC. To just list out several candidates, there is no one that can spark the reinvigoration or reimagining of the Democratic Party. Nothing like Donald Trump, who has actually done so good within the party. He has had major record approval numbers just within the party itself, and with a lot of influence and a lot of people, he's been changing the Republican Party from the inside. MAGA is growing, but I don't see the same thing happening. On one hand, you have this far left. On the other, you have the establishment that's, in honesty, both are hated. Yet, they have no one, yet average Joe liberals do have no one to choose from in this regard. Hell, even the independents have been being pushed to the right as a result of this. Remember what I said with the Democratic Party going further and further to the left? Well, that's one of the reasons why a lot of independents have been, well, more voting right-wing in recent years. So that's number two. She's a socialist. The other problem is the establishment itself. Sticks, Axe, and Hammer actually made a mention about this in regards to at least Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. He's been an independent, although he has caucused with the Democrats for several years. Yet back in 2016, and of course in 2020, he decided to switch to the Democratic Party, so that way he has an entire party backing him. Of course, the Democratic leadership and the establishment did not like the idea of having an outsider like him being the forerunner and the leader of the Democratic Party. So they intentionally rigged it with, and it was just completely obvious, especially with special delegates within the Democratic Party who basically were allowed to choose whoever they want. And of course, they went to Hillary Clinton in 2016. In 2020, they went to Joe Biden. It was obviously rigged. But this goes to show to you that not only does the establishment have a lot of control, but it's just gone so behind the times that it doesn't really understand what its own constituents want. It doesn't know what the average Joe liberals want. They honestly think that the far left are what the, or at least in some cases, that some of the policies promoting that the far left is promoting within the party are what a lot of Americans want to think. In reality, that's obviously not true. From the way I see things, especially from the Democratic Party, it's more of the establishment using the far left as a means to an end to maintain power, trying to use them as useful idiots. But of course, they are the loudmouths of the far left is the loudmouths of the Democratic Party, and I would not be surprised if sooner or later it comes to bite both of these camps in the ass. So in that regards, that's the problem. AOC is not likely to win, much less becoming the nominee. She will have no support, or very little support from the establishment. She will have little support from the regular American people, only from the far left fringes and the vote blue no matter who crowd. She is not very well liked in all honesty. And of course, she does not have the necessary prestige in order to win over a lot of major leaders within the Democratic Party. People know about Nancy Pelosi, and of course she is the major leader, especially within the House. But even she knows that despite her position, she's not likely to be part of to actually run for the presidency, especially since she's been mainly in power within the House of Representatives. There's not too much prestige in regards to that. Although, again, she is a major leader. She is a major important leader within the Democratic Party. But compared to a lot of others, especially with people with major prestigious ranks, like maybe Chuck Schumer of New York, Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, and a few others, there's no way that she would run, even despite her age. And honestly, AOC would be having the same issues. I don't think AOC would have any support whatsoever. In fact, she will be dead in the water, as much as Mike Pence is right now. Honestly, popularity-wise, she would have a rating of maybe 5% if she was lucky. Maybe even a little bit maybe higher with Mike Pence. But then again, I'm being overly gracious to her. In honesty, though, she won't win. She would not win in the primary, and she will not win in the general election. My name is Obi, and on the truth. Please post your comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, and share with your friends. Also, if you have any issues regarding my videos, such as how I speak, or any improvements you like me to make whatsoever, please post in the comment section down below, or direct me message me. Thank you.